All right, people, we can't stop winning this week. Target is ending its diversity goals as a strong DEI opponent occupies the White House. Who could that be? Discount store chain Target said Friday that it would join rival Walmart and a number of other prominent American brands in scaling back diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives that have come under attack from conservative activists. And as of this week, the White House. The retailer said the changes to its belonging at the bullseye strategy would include ending a program established to help Black employees build meaningful careers. Why not just help Black employees build meaningful careers the same way you would at white or Hispanic or any other? Okay, shouldn't you be trying to help everyone build a career there? Improve the experience of Black shoppers and to promote Black-owned businesses following the police killing of George Floyd in 2020. Okay, if you followed the George Floyd story, it was not as it seemed. Not even close. In fact, it has me questioning a lot of history as far as news events go. Target, which operates nearly 2,000 stores nationwide and employs more than 400,000 people, said it already had planned to end the racial program this year. The company said Friday that it also would conclude the diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI, goals it previously set in 3-year cycles. The goals included hiring and promoting more women and members of racial minority groups, and recruiting more diverse suppliers, including businesses owned by people of color, women, LGBTQ people, and veterans, and people with disabilities. Okay, so just blatant racism. Racism and sexism, I guess. It's actually not legal to do that in the US. They've been getting away with it for years. Target has long been a fierce corporate advocate for the rights of Black and LGBTQ plus people. In a memo to employees, I mean, I hate to say it, but they have the same rights as anybody else. So why not just say Target has been a fierce corporate advocate for the rights of all American people? This is what's so ridiculous. I mean, the gay pride flag, for instance, has included so many things, so many people, so many groups. It's just becoming its own flag. It's just becoming it's almost nearly representative of everyone. The moment there's a cisgender stripe, it's okay, you've done it. You've now gotten completely back to the American flag and what the American flag stood for. Congratulations, you figured it out. In a memo to employees, Kiera, Target's Chief Community Impact and Equity Officer, described the DEI decisions as the next chapter in the company's decades-long process to create inclusive work and guest environments that welcome all. Many years of data, insights, listening, and learning have been shaping this next chapter in our strategy, Fernandez wrote in the memo. But of course, nothing on the bottom line. Are you sure the bottom line didn't shape that strategy? Because you are a business. Steering clear of backlash from conservative customers or organizations is something that Target has tried to navigate for a while. As transgender rights have become a more prominent issue in 2016, the company declared that inclusivity is a core belief at Target and said it supported transgender employees and customers using whichever restroom or fitting room corresponds with their gender identity. Here we go. Let's see, what did they say? But after some customers threatened to boycott Target stores, the company said that more stores would make available a single toilet bathroom. Wow. Well, that was easy. Imagine that. The company said that more stores would make available a single toilet bathroom with a door that could be locked. In 2023, Target removed some of its Pride Month merchandise after online complaints and in-store confrontations that the retailers had threatened employees' well-being. The company decided last year not to stock Pride Month products at every U.S. store. Well, right, but that would just be because, money. There's certain areas in the country where you're not going to sell Pride Month merch. And if you do, it's not even worth the time that you pay the employee to set the space up. I'll be honest, I didn't even realize they did pull those displays.
Section at Target.
The company chose to pull some items because of attacks against team members. WCCO's Rich Chapman has more on Target's reaction and what the LGBTQ plus community wants you to know.
For more than 10 years, Target has shown its support of the LGBTQ plus community with its Pride Month displays. Target says since introducing this year's collection, it's experienced...
They're trying to make money. I would sell LGBTQ merch. If it's sold, if they wanted to support and help the LGBTQ plus community, they would take their profits and they would just donate it to organizations that support the LGBTQ plus communities.
Threats impacting team members' sense of safety and well-being while at work. There have been some violent confrontations forcing Target to take action to keep employees safe.
And obviously as a community, we're just deeply concerned because when we see this kind of harassment that our community faces, but then we see it translating into companies thinking about, well, are we pulling stuff back? I think it raises the question and concern of how does visibility and showing up look for companies and for allies in our community?
Outfront Minnesota Executive Director Kat Rowan says this backlash is one example of what members of the LGBTQ plus community is experiencing.
Our community has seen a lot, unfortunately, of violence and harassment over the past year. Our community has just had a heightened level of, tension and concern around what safety looks like.
Target's change to its Pride display comes as Bud Light deals with backlash from customers angered by its partnering with transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney in an effort to broaden its customer base. Transgender issues like gender-affirming healthcare and participation in sports have been divisive topics. Rowan says the best way to respond is for allies to stand strong and show up.
As we go into Pride Month, there will be celebrations here in the Twin Cities, but all over the state, in communities big and small, and showing up for one another and showing that visible support and saying, you're welcome here and you're part of this community. I think that's the key.
Reg Chapman, WCCO News.
So why would any employers need to give you preferential hiring over anyone else? You know what they need to do? We need to create a poor community. Just like people who make under $70,000 a year, they're now part of the poor's community. And we'll just do like a poor Pride Month. We'll all get together. We'll ride our 1985 Honda three-wheelers in the mud. And after we clear the carburetors out. And that's what we'll do once a year, every month. We'll get together in the woods and be poor. And we'll drink Natty Lights, I guess. Fernandez wrote in the memo, which Target shared Friday. Let's see what that is. As a retailer that serves millions of consumers every day, we understand the importance of staying in step with the evolving external landscape now and in the future. I want to see the bullet points of this memo. All right, here we go. Throughout 2025, we'll be accelerating action in key areas and implementing changes with the goal of driving growth and staying in step with the evolving external landscape. We will continue to monitor and adjust as needed. The current actions include, man, we are so going into a recession, aren't we? Starting to actually care about worrying about things that make money. Concluding our 3-year diversity, equity, and inclusion goals. Concluding our racial equity action and change initiatives in 2025. Ensuring our employee resource groups are communities fully focused on development and mentorship. These communities will include to be open to all. Further evaluating our corporate partnerships to ensure they are directly connected to our roadmap for growth. Stopping all external diversity-focused surveys, including HRC's Corporate Equality Index. Yeah, that sounds... Evolving our supplier diversity team to supplier engagement to better reflect our inclusive global procurement process across a broad range of suppliers, including increasing our focus on small businesses, which from a business standpoint does make more sense if you just don't have one huge supplier that you're counting on, so that things when a pandemic happens and your supply chain gets interrupted, it's good to have many different suppliers that you can pull from. In that regard, they're becoming anti-fragile. There is no doubt the U.S. civil rights landscape has undergone a massive transformation in the 5 years since much of corporate America adopted DEI goals in response to the Black Lives Matter protests that followed Floyd's death in Minneapolis. Man, it is so crazy how much that fake story, I mean, really, the framing around that story is wild. If you kept up to date with it, if you're watching this show, you know how that story actually played out. A 2023 U.S. Supreme Court decision that outlawed affirmative action in college admissions emboldened the conservative groups to bring or threaten lawsuits targeting corporate initiatives such as employee resource groups and hiring practices that prioritize historically marginalized groups. Walmart, McDonald's, Ford, Harley-Davidson, and John Deere are among the well-known consumer brands that reduced or phased out their DEI commitments in recent months. President Donald Trump this week signaled his administration's agreement with conservatives who argue that policies designed to increase minority representation by considering factors such as race, gender, and sexual orientation are unconstitutional. They're also unethical and racist. On his first day in office, Trump signed an executive order aimed at ending DEI programs across the federal government. The order calls for revoking all DEI mandates, policies, preferences, and activities, along with the review and revision of existing employment practices, union contracts, and training policies or programs. Still, some prominent companies have resisted public pressure to retreat from their diversity plans. These are all going to be companies who are uber wealthy and have a bunch of cash anyways, so they can bleed. On Thursday, Costco shareholders rejected a proposal urging the wholesale club operator to evaluate any risks posed by its diversity, equity, and inclusion practices. According to preliminary results shared by Costco executives, more than 98% of shares voted against the proposal submitted by a conservative think tank based in Washington. Costco's board of directors had recommended a no vote. Apple's board, here we go, Apple. Yeah, they got 200 million billion in the bank doing nothing with. What is Apple's cash hoard? According to CNBC, Apple reported having $162 billion in cash during the fiscal fourth quarter. Apple's board and CEO of JP Morgan Bank also has expressed a commitment to preserving their company's DEI activities. Unlike some of the companies retooling or retiring their diversity initiatives, Target's work to build a more inclusive workforce predated 2020, and the company Unlike some of the companies retooling or retiring their diversity initiatives, Target's work to build a more inclusive workforce predated 2020, and the company also was long seen as a trailblazer with respect to LGBTQ plus inclusion. One thing I never had a problem with was Target having selling the Pride Month merch during Pride Month, and they had their own little displays. That never bothered me. It's a free market. They have customers who are LGBT, so if they can make money selling that, all good. No problem there, it's a free country. But the employee memo shared Friday said Target no longer will participate in surveys designed to gauge the effectiveness of its actions, including an annual index compiled by Human Rights Campaign, a national LGBTQ plus rights organization. Target said it would further evaluate corporate partnerships to ensure they're connected directly to business objectives, but declined to share any details. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll talk to you later.